welcome to another episode of the Mad Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Begley, Doney, and Wayne.
Oh, what's up, Mad Mob? Man, it's been a minute. Gentlemen, my friends, amigos, brothers, how art thou?
It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back.
It's good to hear the turkey gobbler again.
I know that was a good one because even though your background's blurry, I saw your wife turn around in disgust.
She did. She heard the noise that came out.
That's how I know it was a really good one. I'll have to start off with that one. Mad Mob, let's start off with just a heartfelt apology. It's a busy time of the year. End of the year, holidays, beginning of the year for us. Gone and I are accountants. Begley's a finance manager. And it's the beginning of the year is just a really, really busy time in our work life. I'm sure you can tell by my voice I'm a little sick. We've kind of banged off a few sicknesses back and forth between each other. We're really close with each other. But yeah,
them around, man.
So it's just been a hodgepodge of work, holidays, sicknesses. I went into deep thought, deep meditation, deep prayer for the Buccaneers. I knew we weren't good. I mean, I'm not an irrational fan that thought that we were going to win it all or anything. But you always want to beat the Cowboys. So I went. I tried, man. I really got deep in thought and wanted to manifest that dub. It obviously didn't happen. I think Begley did the same heading into the 49ers game. So here we are, just a bunch of downtrodden fans. But that's not what this is about. This is about fantasy. So here's what we got going on this episode. We've got the Doinks. What everybody loves. The Doinks. How did it end? Who came in first? Who came in last? Who gets a steak bought for them? Who has to purchase a steak? What were the Doinks? What were the results? We're going to cover it all. It's going to be a good one. Gentlemen, it's good to be back.
It's good to be back. This is a good episode to jump right back into. Like you said, everyone loves the Doinks. We hear it throughout the year from the people. And there's going to be some funny ones to look back on. Some ones where we're going to hang our head in shame. And some where we're going to victory lap a little bit.
It's kind of like... I think I'll be the only one that destroys a phone over it, but destroy a phone, back over it. If you all haven't seen that one, go back and check it out. But yeah, I agree.
It was a good time. We're gonna leave it at the end. You know, people can count them up if they want as we're going through these. We're gonna just go on through. We'll announce the winner, the loser, and the middleman at the end here. Beggs, any words?
No
man.
words. Blow the dust off the ledger. Let's get right to it.
Here we go. Boys, we had 56 Doinks for this 2022 fantasy season. It was memorable. It was great. We're going to start out going all the way back to our first episode on air. This is back in May 9th. Goni versus Beggs. Who will have the better fantasy finish, Christian Watson or John Mechie?
Ouch.
It's a rough one to start off on. This was before, obviously, any diagnosis was made. And, I won that one. Sorry.
Barely.
Shameful.
Barely.
Shameful.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and skip past that one. Get it off the board here.
No, let's take a minute to talk about it, Gone.
Oh, sure. Would you like to reflect? We can reflect.
Yeah, let's reflect on that one. You won it because my guy got cancer.
For what it's worth, and I really need your honest opinion on this one. Had he not, and he played this season, do you think that he would have beaten Christian Watson during his absolutely scorching hot run? It'd be a tough one. It'd be a
John
tough one.
Mechie was all that Texans offense was missing. That's all they were missing. Was John Mechie in the slot.
Yeah, it would have
I'm
moved
kidding.
from the second overall
I,
pick.
I'm kidding. He was probably in my opinion, a 6 to 9 fantasy point per game kind of player. Is that too much?
No.
No, I mean, I don't think so. Nico Collins got a ton of targets this year. Brandon Cooks didn't even show up, really. And then really didn't show up for a little bit after he didn't get traded.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Better things, hopefully, to build next year. Hopefully he gets to play. Wish nothing but the best for him. Hey, if he does play next year, you want to run that back?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll wait on it. Same show. Better fantasy finish. Drake London for Goni versus Traylon Burks for Beggs. Drum roll, please. Drake London. Drake London obviously won that one. He played all season. Traylon Burks got hurt. I poo-pooed a lot on Traylon Burks throughout the year.
Yeah, I was
Both
surprised.
Wayne and Beggs were believers.
I was surprised to hear that one because Begley rode Drake London on several weekly doinks.
Hard.
Yeah, man. It was the Mariota effect for me, which wasn't a bad call, but Burks had Tannehill, which was a lot better.
Which I don't have their average per game. That actually probably would have been a good one for me to check out. The final tally was Drake London with 157.6 and Traylon Burks with 94.1, playing probably half the games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could have gone the other way easily. Moving onward. May 22nd, Goni versus Beggs again. Will Aaron Jones be an RB1 for the season in 2022? I said no. Beggs said yes. It was an easy one for Beggs. It was an easy one. He finished as the RB8 this year. He had a good season. He had a lot of good games. Did a lot of what Wayne and Beggs talked about throughout the year, catching a lot of passes. And I mean, he just showed out.
I don't think that was hatred of Aaron Jones or anything for you. I think that honestly, both of you, but obviously Begley a little less, you all just thought A.J. Dillon was going to have a great season and he was going to be more utilized. So it wasn't necessarily Aaron Jones hate. It was just you thought there was going to be more of a ball share going around.
Yep. Thought it'd be a more – I thought they were going to be closer in games too, which would have allowed them to run. But, I mean, it just didn't happen. Didn't happen this year. We'll see how that offense runs next year if Aaron Rodgers is there or not, honestly. Same show. Wayne gets involved here. Goni versus Wayne, episode 3. Aaron Jones, fantasy finish. I got a little bit better odds on this one. I still lost it. It was running back 8 or better is what Wayne took, and I took running back 10 or better. And obviously, running back 8, if I could have got one more spot out of it, it would have been a push. I would have loved it. That one's just right on the cusp. So, tip of the cap.
Tip of the cap.
Tip of the cap. Moving on. Goni versus Wayne again, the very next episode, episode 4 on air. Javonte Williams. I was very high on him this year. I thought this was going to be the year we see this man break free, go absolutely nuts. Wayne didn't really believe in him as much. We had a bet. RB18 or better, Goni, and RB19 or worse for Wayne. Wayne absolutely swept the floor with me. Javonte tore his ACL in week 4. I think he was running back 18 or better at that point, but it's week 4, so it's not even really like I can be like, oh, he would have been on pace for the whole season and stuff. It's too small of a sample size for me.
He didn't really break away. He just broke.
And with how bad the offense was all year, there's really no telling. So,
well, his numbers were inflated from that Seattle game. If you remember the 11 target Seattle game.
Yeah. I mean, they were bad. And that's one of the reasons why I thought that Javonte was going to be so good this year is because the whole Russell Wilson's there. There's going to be more sustained drives. more scoring opportunities, and man, did that one fall the other way. So it's a rough one. It's a rough one. Wayne versus Beggs, same episode 4. They got into it over Travis Etienne. Wayne said that he would be the running back 27 or better. Beggs wanted no part of it. He faded him hard. Running back 28 or worse.
Easy
Wayne
money.
won.
Easy
Wayne
money.
absolutely destroyed on that one. I believe Travis Etienne, let me look up here real quick. I thought I had it in the notes already. I think he might have finished as like the RB13.
Yeah, he rallied strong, man. That's one where I was banking on the Liz Frank, the serious Liz Frank, I might add. Later on, I came
The
around.
major.
Yeah, later on, I came around on ETN, but when James Robinson got traded, that was the death of that bet for me.
He actually finished as the RB18, just 2 points behind Kenneth Walker for the season. So it was a good year for him. It looks good for him going forward. I'm excited to see what he does next year, honestly.
Yep.
2 shows later, May 30th, episode 6, Goni versus Wayne, better fantasy finish. This one's going to be gross coming out here. Darnell Mooney versus Amari Cooper, better fantasy finish.
Wow.
I don't need to tell you guys, Mad Mob, who won this bet, but if Wayne would have spotted me 100 points, I still would have gotten dominated on it.
Hey, hindsight's 2020. We can talk as
Man.
much trash as we want, but I mean, these are preseason doinks that we're still going through. And you were very high on 2 guys, Darnell Mooney and Gabe Davis. You were high on a lot of guys, but those are really your only 2 that you were just a little off on. And Gabe Davis, a little less. But I mean, you had to be high on Darnell Mooney. You thought Justin Fields was going to be nuts this year, and he was, just not necessarily from a passing standpoint.
Yeah, I was expecting 150 plus targets to Darnell Mooney. We didn't see the passing come along. It didn't happen there. Beggs' arch nemesis, Justin Fields, didn't get it done. 239.9 for Amari Cooper, 101.5. So absolutely wiped the floor with me on that one. Moving on, same show, Beggs versus Wayne. They got into it about Michael Thomas. We had thinking back on it, we're mixed on where Michael Thomas might be drafted, and Beggs and I were on the side that it was very scary to draft. Wayne was a little higher based on the upside, which is understandable. And they made a doink. They made a doink saying Michael Thomas, wide receiver 2 finish. Wayne said yes. Beggs said no. And, obviously that didn't happen. Michael Thomas just doesn't play football, man. He doesn't play.
He doesn't play.
And, does he play next year?
No.
I'm out on him. I'm out. I'm done with him.
Yeah, he's just too scary. He's too scary. If you can get him in the 7th round, would you take him?
No.
No.
He's a 10-plus guy for me.
That's fair. Moving on. June 6th, episode 7 on air. Better fantasy finish. This was the great Andrews-Kelsey debates. Kelsey coming off of his first season in years of not being the tight end 1. Andrews taking the crown for the season. They came into it. I mean, Kelsey versus Andrews, obviously, Kelsey far and away the tight end 1 this year. Andrews he went through a stretch, man. He lost me a lot of games this year. He was very disappointing.
Wasn't he the tight end 2?
He was not the tight end 2.
What was he?
He was the tight end 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Double check that for me.
I will. Checking it right now. Confirmed. He was the tight end 4. Kittle was tight end 3, who was 10 points ahead. TJ Hawkinson with his two massive games at the number 2 spot. And then Kelsey, 100 points ahead of TJ Hawkinson, who was the number 2 spot at 315. Crushing it. I believe, let me just check this real quick. At 315 points, that makes him the wide receiver 5, gentlemen, over CeeDee Lamb. 5 points behind Stephon Diggs this year.
Yeah.
He's just a weapon. He's just an absolute weapon.
So it was close. It was a game or two away from going the other way.
Yeah, 315 to 189 was only a couple games. Absolutely.
I mean, quite possibly the easiest doink ever to be won in the history of doinks.
Beggs, does Kelsey fall off next year, or does he have another year in him of
He's
this
got
kind of
another
production?
year. Look, man, you see Tony Gonzalez and Jason Witten play until they're mid to high 30s. He's what, 33 next year?
Yes.
I'm not going to bet against him.
I wouldn't either, honestly, and especially with the gap and the cushion that he's got on even the number 2 guy. The man can fall off a little bit and still easily be a tight end 1. Don't hate it. Same episode, Goni versus Beggs, better fantasy finish. We were going into the trash can here a little bit, and I was hoping for better things this year. It was Robert Tunyon, who was nearly undrafted, versus Pat Fryermuth, who Beggs, the original MVP.
Fryermuth
For MVP.
Yes.
First time it was heard on this show, uttered. So, I took my chances on it. Fryermuth, he came out ahead. He won 148.2 to 106.1. Tunyon he didn't have that boom game. There's all year I was waiting for like one, 25 banger out of him that has come along the last couple of years, and it never materialized. That
was the second easiest doink ever won on this show right there.
I don't know. We're getting to some of the easy ones shortly, sir. Goni versus Beggs on our second ever Q&A. This one might be one of the easiest doinks ever made, actually. Mad Mob, if you remember back, and just us talking about this and that throughout the year, Devontae Adams, as everyone knows, went to the Raiders. Beggs was so high on them, so high. He thought Derek Carr was going to turn into Peyton Manning. He was thinking this is going to be the greatest show on turf. So we had a doink. I went with the logic and the team that scored a lot of points last year. Who would score more total real NFL points, the Bills or the Raiders? And when it was all said and done, I mean, honestly, if you were to guess, you'd guess right. It's the Bills, 455 to 395. How do you feel about that one, Beggs?
It was shameful and disgraceful to make that doink. We were hot, passionate. We were arguing. My piss was boiling, and I made it just at the drop of a hat. I've regretted it ever since.
Easiest doink of all time.
Of all time, man. And it won't be the first doink. That you regret, sir. Moving onward. June 11th, our mock draft show. Wayne and I got into it over Mike Williams and Deontay Johnson. As you guys know, Wayne loves the DJs, all the DJs in the league. He's got them on his fantasy team somewhere, spread across the league. This one was probably the closest doink that we have on the ledger. It hurts my soul because I got beat on a buzzer beater essentially in the last game of the season. Deontay Johnson ekes out the dub, 171.9 to 169.3. Tip of the cap, Wayne. Tip of the cap. That's as even as it gets. That's as even as it gets right there. That's neck and neck. It was good. It was good. I don't mind ones like that if it comes close. I'd rather be on the other side of it, obviously.
I won a few close ones from you this year.
Yeah, it's rough, man. My win-loss record in one-score games wasn't very good this year. 6-11, Beggs versus Wayne, our Q&A show. We're talking about Lamar Jackson and Tua. Wayne was pretty high on Tua this year. They got into it, and they made a doink saying that Tua would be within 3 spots of Lamar Jackson. Beggs wanted no part of it. Wayne wanted all the smoke. Wayne won. Lamar Jackson finished as the QB 13, and Tua the QB 14, 1 spot behind, almost beating him. They both missed games. They both put up great numbers in games that they did play, but facts is facts.
Facts is facts.
It's a lost doink to cancer, injury, and passion.
What are you talking about, man?
Like
Tua missed so many games because his brain got turned to mush this year.
bro, Lamar was absolutely cooking. He had his apron and spatula on. Start the season.
So was
Then he lost
Tua.
faith in the organization, man.
Actually, when they played each other, I'm pretty sure Tua was like the QB1 that week, and both Waddle and Tyreek had over like 150 yards receiving and a touchdown each, and it was an absolute barn burner.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Tua had his games, but Lamar would have won that hands down if he stayed on the field.
Nah, they both stay on the field. Nah.
Come on,
We'll
man.
never know. We'll never know. Something to talk about next
Well,
year.
we don't have to know, Goni. All we know is that I won.
That's true. We don't have to know. It is over and done with now, and that's all there is to it. Same show.
Easiest
Q&A
talk of all
3.
time.
I don't remember how we got into this. This is Wayne versus Beggs. This is still up in the air, for lack of a better term. They got into who would score the most points for the rest of their career. And Beggs is looking like the early front runner. Wayne took Will Fuller, who's now retired, or he was retired at the beginning of the year, honestly. And Beggs took Calvin Ridley, who is traded to the Jaguars and looking to play next season.
It's
Thoughts?
a wrap.
Rebuttal, Wayne?
We'll see. We'll see what
I
happens.
think Wayne has already acquiesced this Doink to me, right, Goni? Like
No.
unofficially.
Never.
No, it was not counted in the win-loss as of yet.
It's a good way to start the new season off.
No.
I'll take it.
I don't know. He's got to be out of the league for 5 years to be ineligible for return.
And it's on the 2022 Doink ledger. It's not like you'll have it retroactively applied. It's not going to go to your 2023 total when Calvin Ridley catches one pass.
It's a good start to the season, go. We'll take it.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Winning a Doink from a previous year is always a good.
1-0.
There we go.
1-0.
Coney versus Beggs, June 18th. Fantasy finish plus 20 points for Beggs on this one. Oh, my heart. Gabe Davis versus Brandon Ayuk plus 20. Honestly, he could have spotted me 20, and I wouldn't have won this Doink. Brandon Ayuk, 216.9. Gabe Davis, 163.7. Gabe Davis wasn't terrible this year. I was super high on him, but he wasn't great. He wasn't great. He's got a tendency to drop balls. He seems like a one-trick pony at times, where he kind of just runs down the field past you. And he really didn't have a lot of targets. I think the amount of games that he had over 6 targets, 6 or more, you could probably count on like one hand easily. So Brandon Ayuk absolutely turned it up this year. Props to him. Didn't matter who the quarterback was. Tip of the cap to you, Biggs. Tip of the cap, sir.
Thanks, man. I've made quite a few Ayuk Doink bets on this podcast. I should have made more because you boys did not believe.
Did not believe. Moving on to a guy that you didn't believe, and also the easiest Doink ever made on this podcast. This is July 9th. This is our Lay of the League episode. Who would have the better fantasy finish from the two turds of yesteryear? Justin Fields for Goni or Zach Wilson for Beggs? Justin Fields finished with a whopping 290.98, finishing as a top 6 quarterback. And Zach Wilson finished with 104.9 points, way less than half, which is good for 32nd or 33rd in the league out of 32 quarterbacks.
So just so we can have something to refer to, you would have had better luck slotting Mark Andrews into your quarterback slot this year?
You would have.
Okay.
You would have.
Just making sure.
No.
Look, I mean, it was team turmoil up in New York. He was the victim of the coach. I can't control that. Robert Saleh plays him. I mean, he's right there.
Hey, man. Zach Wilson couldn't have played Madden better than Justin Fields played football for fantasy this season.
Justin Fields was dog water. He's dog water.
Not for fantasy, he's not.
Not this year.
I'm just saying. My man's was better and better and better every single week. If you'd like to run it back, I'm willing to do that. I'll spot you 100 points as well.
Give me a quarterback.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Stop it. Give me a quarterback.
All right. Moving on. July 14th.
It's just good to see you snacking again, man.
Absolutely. That's what we needed. That's what we
Good-
needed in the
just good to see you
return.
snacking on the mic again.
Man, glad to be back, boys.
What are we having? Is this the infamous gelato?
It is.
Gelato.
It's
I knew it.
Delicious.
Mint fudge cookie.
Mint fudge cookies. That
It's
sounds
pretty good.
That sounds all right. All right. July 14th, boys. Goni versus Wayne. We did a mock draft out of the 12 spot for the people. We got into it about something. I know this was a very, very heated debate because of the doink that comes after this one. I'd mentioned Wayne was pretty high on Gallup this year relative to where he was drafted. Not expecting major things, but he liked him more than the guys around him. I wasn't so high on Gallup. So I'd thrown a couple names out there, and Wayne was like, take any of those guys. Take any of them. So I just needed one of these guys to have a better fantasy finish than Michael Gallup. I got Tyler Lockett, who finished as the wide receiver 13. Kadarius Toney, who finished as the wide receiver 106, but we know he didn't play a lot of the season. That's fine. And Christian Kirk, who finished as the wide receiver 9 with 240 points. Michael Gallup finished as the wide receiver 65.
He was hurt a lot of the year. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. America was wrong about Tyler Lockett and Christian Kirk.
You know who wasn't wrong? At least about a Christian Kirk. I wouldn't say Wayne.
You
or
did
Beggs
not
can
think
bet that
Christian
for me on.
Kirk was going to be a WR1.
Excuse me? Beggs. Get him, Beggs.
About Christian Kirk?
Yep.
Yeah, he actually he had it on the ledger in paper. He
In
thought
paper.
Kirk was going to be a wide receiver 1.
Fair
In
enough. Tip of the
paper.
cap.
That's the only one, though. That's the only one that I'll take any props for. Christian Kirk was one I believed in this year. Which leads us to our next one, which is probably the most embarrassing doink I think I've ever lost because it's so stupid. It has nothing to do with football at all. Wayne and I got to arguing, as we tend to do. And it was just a matter of whether or not I said Mechie. I don't know the context. I'm just reading from the ledger right now. Did I say Mechie on an episode? I was steadfast in the fact that I did not. And we played back the tapes, and your boy said Mechie. So that's a loss on the ledger for the year. Wayne ran over his phone. Those of you that have YouTube watching us there, look at his cracked phone. It's terrible. He literally ran it over with his truck. It was hilarious. It was great. The video that he was trying to make was hilarious in itself as well.
No regrets.
Not a single one. Not a single one. It also led into this doink as well. Still getting into it, hot and heavy. I took the combo of Brady and Tyler Lockett versus Wayne's Derek Carr and Michael Gallup. Brady finished as the QB 11. Carr finished as the QB 16. Lockett as the wide receiver 13, and Gallup as the wide receiver 65. I'll spare you the totals on the points, but we'll say I beat Wayne by 56.
Man.
It was just a killer year from Tyler Lockett, honestly.
I remember that episode fondly.
Dude,
We were in the trenches.
we were in the trenches, man, with grenades. It was definitely pretty rough.
He was so mad, dude. I bullied him into those 2 wins, and he was so mad. You remember that?
Hey, man.
He didn't want to take those doinks.
I literally,
at
I
all.
was like,
didn't.
Goni, take these dubs.
I did it for honor though, because there was a miscommunication. I was trying to get one rescinded, and I offered another one who's like, we're gonna keep both. We're gonna keep them all. I'm glad we did. This next one is a big talking point that we had throughout the season. Beggs was super high on him. July 14th, Q&A 5. Hollywood Brown. Willie finished as a wide receiver 2. I had one against Beggs. Wayne had one against Beggs separately. Willie finished as a wide receiver 2. And Beggs thought the magic was going to happen all year for some reason. Like DeAndre Hopkins was going to come back from his 6-game suspension, and just the rapport would have been way too high with Kyler Murray for it to carry through.
Listen, hang on. I got to stop you there.
Listen,
If you look at the numbers, the rapport was there and it was strong. He gets hurt on a fluke play at the end of the game on a play that he shouldn't even be in the game for. It was over with. And that was it for the Doink. I was in commanding lead on that. Commanding.
that's questionable.
Then he gets hurt, and then when he comes back, Kyler's hurt.
Well, either way,
Breaks.
he finished as a wide receiver 40.
Which is impressive considering he missed 5 games and his quarterback was hurt when he got back. I'll take it. It's a moral victory.
Fair enough, man.
Unfortunately, moral victories don't count in the Doink ledger.
I have a moral victory ledger. I'll mark it down in it.
Stick that one in your pocket, man.
Oh, man. In our Q&A 6 show, Wayne versus Beggs, they were getting to talking about who would have the worst offense in the league. Beggs and his hatred for Justin Fields was adamant that it would be the Bears. He will stop at nothing to throw dirt on Justin Fields' good name. And Wayne said it would be the Houston Texans, which seems like the most common sense answer you can throw out there for the season. While the Bears will have the number 1 pick, they outscored the Texans by nearly 40 points on the season.
It's one game. It's one game worth of points.
Not for these teams. It's like 3 games worth of points for these teams.
The Texans didn't score 40 all season.
It's one game of points. I knew the Bears would be trash with Fields behind center. Still talking about trading him. You know, if he didn't have a 3-game stretch where he lost his mind, I probably wouldn't that bad.
It was like 5 games. He finished as like a top 6 quarterback. He crushed it after throwing for like 70 yards a game for the first month of the season.
Running quarterbacks are OP in fantasy.
Hey, man, gotta have them. We went through on our divisional review shows, and we were talking about the East divisions. Wayne and Beggs made a Doink, catered to the Jets. Beggs was super high on Elijah Moore this year. Super high on Elijah Moore this year. And Wayne went with the draft capital. He took Garrett Wilson, and it wasn't close. Elijah Moore was nearly faced. He got the Denzel Mims treatment for a while. He absolutely got the Denzel Mims treatment where they were just like, yeah, we drafted you, but we ain't ever going to use you, man. Just warm that bench up. Your boy Zach Wilson hates to throw to him. He hates to throw to everyone. Garrett Wilson wasn't even that good when Zach Wilson was in there. He might have had a game or two, but Garrett Wilson started to eat. He finished as a wide receiver 2, gentlemen.
He's elite.
Elijah Moore didn't get half the points that Garrett Wilson got. He finished as a wide receiver 81 this year. So Garrett Wilson took the lead on that one and never looked back.
That was a true loss. Garrett Wilson is twice the receiver Elijah Moore is.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man for sure. Wayne and I got into a Doink bet in that same show, and it was just whether or not Wayne would finish first in Doinks this year.
You can't.
I'll leave
that
one. I'll leave that one up. I'm not gonna reveal the answer. It's just a funny Doink that we made throughout the year. I won't reveal the answer because that would give it away. Whether he won or not, or whether I won or not, or Beggs. You never know. We're about halfway through here. Let's rattle them off. Goni versus Beggs on August 7th. We were doing the North Division. Who would have a better fantasy finish? Another guy Beggs was super high on this year, and he ate in the Doink ledger on was T. Higgins.
Yep.
He loves him. He loves him. I took Jerry Jeudy in this one. I don't really regret my decision. I think Jerry Jeudy has established himself as the guy in Denver. It's just how poor that offense was and how bad Russell Wilson was. So that's something I'd consider next year, possibly trying to run back with you, Beggs, if you're as high on T. Higgins again next year. We'll see. But yeah, wide receiver 14 for T. Higgins, wide receiver 27 for Jerry Jeudy, 41-point difference. Tip of the cap to you, sir. Same show. Wayne wanted the same smoke with Beggs, with his boy DJ, Deontay Johnson. T. Higgins. It was a down year for Deontay Johnson. He's usually a reception monster. He PPRs you to death. He finished as the wide receiver 29. Just didn't get it done this year.
No, and it's his fault. I mean, there were some games where the targets were there, just couldn't haul them in.
Couldn't get it done. Playing with the rookie quarterback as well is kind of rough. August 14th, we're going into the South Division. I still remember this one like it was yesterday because this all stemmed because we picked a dark horse, like a favorite, and something that we had like 3 categories is what it was. And and we all did a thing where like in our group chat, we would hurry up because you don't want to be the person who's without a player. We're obviously not going to both name a player. So we'd hurry up and we'd name a player for a certain thing that we have, a certain title that we wanted to give them. And the players were dwindling. I was the last one on this. So for my dark horse, for my bust, I took Traylon Burks. Wayne wasn't having it. Wasn't having it. Asked me what the ADP was. His ADP was wide receiver 40. He wanted to take that as the doink bet. I obliged. Rest is history. Traylon Burks got hurt. I poo-pooed on him a whole lot early on in the year, mostly because of the offense. I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. Didn't know that, if Traylon Burks would be that dude to make up for Ryan Tannehill being Ryan Tannehill. But he is. He is. In the games that he did play coming on, like, obviously you're going to get your rookie, yips out of the way and learn the game from an NFL standpoint, but he looked good in the back half of the season, boys.
Yeah, we can run that one back. Traylon Burks, wide receiver 40.
Nah, ain't happy. He finished as wide receiver 75. Wide receiver 75, but nah, I definitely don't want that this year coming around. August 19th, we did our award show, which was a good episode. Go back and listen to that if you haven't heard it. We each took, out of the 7 teams, we did a draft. We took it was 7 teams with the longest Super Bowl odds. It was plus 10,000 for all these teams to win the Super Bowl. We drafted each 2 teams to have the best real NFL record. Wayne took the Bears and Panthers. He finished in last at 10-24 with a combined record. Beggs took Team New York, the Giants and the Jets at 16-17-1. He started off hot fire and then fell apart. And I just eked him out at the end of the season with almost both of my teams going to the playoffs. I took the Jaguars and Lions. Jaguars made it, obviously. If you guys have been watching playoff football, they were 18-16 combined. They started off terrible, but it ain't how you start, it's how you finish.
It's the greatest comeback since Tom Brady against the Falcons.
Just a reminder, the Jets will always freaking Jets, man. They suck.
Hey, they need a quarterback, man. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is that guy next year. We'll see. Let's move on to something where the next one. we drafted players. We did a snake draft of players from those very teams, those 7 terrible teams. And we put together a fantasy team. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flexes. My team was terrible. I won't go through all of them. I scored less than I scored 400 points less than Beggs did. Beggs won it 1509. I scored 1171. Wayne 1293. What do you guys have to say on this?
You all were close. I didn't realize how close you all
should have been.
Wow. So Wayne's team was almost as poo-poo as yours.
Yeah.
Interesting. He started out hot. Wayne, I remember you had Davis Mills. That's what put your team in the grave. He got finished.
I had several injuries. Several.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a bunch of guys that didn't play all year either. What a good time. We'll have to run that back again next year so I can get slaughtered again. It was good.
Yeah, you hated that. You didn't have fun with that at all.
He got so salty every time I covered it.
Hated
so
it.
So salty. Go back and listen to my saltiness. Wayne versus Beggs Doink review show. Way early in the season. Who will have more Doink wins? Not going to let you know. We'll find out at the end of the show, but had to throw it out there. Next up is our DFS Weekly Challenge. This one was kind of close. Kind of wasn't close. It was weird. Like all season. Wayne won. Beggs came in second. I came in last.
Can we just talk? That has to be the most satisfying Doink win of the year, right?
The DFS?
Something that we all focused on so intensely every single week to make the perfect DFS lineup. It was covered every single week. It was updated every single week. I'm not just saying this because I won. But that's got to be like the most work went into the DFS Doink.
I mean, I really didn't pay much attention. I just threw something into the app. Sunday morning, 11:45, 11:50 sometimes.
I'm ignoring that. And I will say, I think it needs to be noted as well that this is also the Doink that Goni laughed at me right after the 1:00 games because I hadn't set my lineup. So there was a week where I took an auto L. That needs to be said.
I think next year I propose that we make the DFS Doink worth 3 Doinks because it is a season-long Doink.
Because it's a very intense Doink. That's why I feel so good taking this one home.
Yoni, you and I have talked about this. We didn't put much effort into the DFS lineups at all. We just kind of threw something on paper.
It was 5 minutes, man. It was 5 minutes. I sent out the text. Dude, I did honestly. Mine.
I tried to see how quickly I could finish mine. I didn't care what the budget was. But next year I propose that we make that Doink worth 3 Doinks to raise the stakes.
How you feel about it, Wayne? I'm down with it.
Beautiful. I'll run it back. I'll run it back. It's easy money. Because I think I set a timer and tried to get it done like while I was peeing. And I have a small bladder.
Next one is definitely the easiest Doink that was ever made on this show, by the way. I'm looking at it. It was our first Doink of the regular season. This is week 1, our 4 p.m. previews. Beggs disrespected Josh Jacobs. He put him in the same breath as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I wasn't having it. We made a Doink. Who would have the better fantasy finish? Josh Jacobs finished as the RB3. Clyde Edwards-Helaire finished as the RB45.
What caused me to do that? Well, what were we talking about?
We were talking about something. I think maybe they had like a similar ADP. I think they had a very close ADP.
And it was his love of the Derek Carr, Devontae Adams connection and his love of the he thought with Tyreek leaving the Chiefs would go a little more to the run. So he had okay logic with the Doink.
The thought process behind it, was good.
I bet on the Raiders to be the highest scoring offense in the league. I won a secondary Doink off of this show on Josh Jacobs. I bet on Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
What in the world? Just a weird Doink.
It's just one of those where that's why this show is great, because we get to look back and some of these are like, what was I thinking at the time? Like, it happens. It happens. I mean, it is what it is.
I probably misspoke, and Wayne just absolutely tied the concrete boots to me. And I had to stand there and hold my ground.
My favor.
If you're going to say something, buddy, I'm going to hold you to it.
Man. We didn't make another Doink for 2 weeks after that. It was our week 3 preview, Beggs versus Wayne. How many points will D-Hop score for the rest of the season when he returns? This is piggybacking off of Beggs with, Hollywood growing the rapport and phasing out D-Hop when he got back. It was 15 or more. That was the bar. He scored 16.8 points per game upon his return.
Only Only one because he quit on his team. He's soft.
He still
quit
scores.
No,
fantasy
he
points.
won because he averaged over 15 fantasy points per game when he came back.
He quit on his team. He didn't want to play with John Skelton. He's a quitter.
I wouldn't want to either.
He's a quitter.
Do you grow up idolizing Todd McSorley?
Man, who wants to play with Jack
Is
Skellington?
that Trace's dad or?
I don't know. What kind of stupid name is Trace?
Man, going for the throat on that one. Beggs hits another one here. Week 3 preview. Brandon Ayuk, week 3 points.
It's a lock.
It was 11.51. They absolutely moved the line to hundreds of a point here for a wide receiver. 11.51
Easy.
points and
And
over
what was the total?
Easy.
12.9.
12.9. And I remember this game like it was yesterday because I was so flustered. He got all 12.9 in like the first quarter and a half.
Yeah.
And then saw zero action the other 2.5 quarters.
Easy money. Might have been the easiest doink of the season, quite honestly.
Man, moving on to week 4 preview. I must have loved the matchup or something. I don't know why I did this. I'll probably never do this again. This is a hang my head in shame. This is Goni versus Beggs. Who has the better fantasy week? We were talking tight ends. I took Mike Gesicki. I'm only going to assume I took Mike Gesicki because he was playing like the Bengals or the Cardinals.
It was the Bengals.
Or was it? Okay, yeah. Just someone who I knew traditionally was not very good against the tight end. He took Zach Ertz. I loved it. I got smoked. 16.7 to 4.3. I got absolutely destroyed on that one. Tip of the cap. That's one of those looking back, and I'm like, I'll probably never pick Mike Gesicki ever again.
The master lock doink of the year right there, actually. That probably really was the easiest doink of the year.
Nah, because the next one's really the easiest doink of the year. This was me against you in the same week, and I was taking my victory laps on Traylon Burks, and you were steadfast right with Wayne as you usually are, and it was, does Wayne win the Traylon Burks bet? I'm obviously going to say no, and you took Wayne's side, and yeah, you lost, man. That's what it is.
Listening to these doinks, Wayne, has Goni won a single one that didn't involve an injury? I don't think he has.
Injury or Traylon Burks? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Which,
Fascinating.
Traylon Burks is injury related, so I guess not.
Fascinating.
I guess you guys haven't been paying attention. We're 37 doinks in, and that's the first one you heard.
Huh.
Man.
Huh. Interesting.
Anyways, Q&A, week 4. Better fantasy finish. This is the fall of Drake London segment here for Beggs. This is the beginning of the end. He took Drake London against Wayne, who took Khalil Herbert. Better fantasy finish. Drake London put up a whopping 3.7 for him that week. Didn't take much for Khalil Herbert. His 11.1 got it done. Easy dub there.
Easy. Possibly the easiest doink made of the year.
I remember that. That was infuriating. Herbert played terrible.
Could have been, man. Beggs versus Wayne, week 6. The 1 p.m. show. Amari Cooper, week 6 points. Beggs took the under of 12.5. Wayne took the over at 12.5.
Wow.
He scored 14-4.
Wow.
Possibly the lock doink of the year.
Wow. The slimmest of margins.
Man. Very next show in the week. Beggs wanted more smoke. This time against me. Who has the better fantasy finish? This could be the easiest doink of the year. It was Bills Chiefs. And he asked this question many times throughout the season. It was a good question to ask too. What Chiefs receiver is it going to be this week? And my answer nearly every time was Juju Smith-Schuster. So he wanted a doink. He took Devin Singletary, which wouldn't have hurt you if you played him. He got you 14.7. That's not terrible. Juju put up 22.3 though that game.
That was his highest game of the year. Begley Luck strikes again.
Diving deeper into the fall of Drake London, Beggs goes back to the well in week 7 against Wayne with the better fantasy finish week, Drake London or Pickens. And boys, I know Kelsey Andrews was a whooping, but for a weekly bet, this is as big as it gets for a whooping. Drake London gave him 1.9. 1.9. That's a catch for 9 yards. And George Pickens put up 18.4.
Hey, Goni.
Oh,
Would you consider this the easiest doink of the season?
Yeah, it's pretty possible. It's pretty possible. It could. It's in the running. It's in the running for sure.
the Kelsey Andrews doink will forever be the most lopsided doink win of all time.
I'm going to have to go back and count the Justin Fields versus Zach Wilson. I think Justin Fields outscored him by more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the most lopsided of all time.
Nah.
Man. Week 8, the 1 p.m. show. More fantasy points from week 8 and on. This one was based off of a question that we got from one of the viewers for our show here. It was basically, would you trade Keenan Allen for Jerry Jeudy? And it was something small. I think it was like a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. And I was on the side that yes, I would trade Keenan Allen for Jerry Jeudy. Keenan Allen had like 6 weeks of just hammies that were non-existent and tight and pulled, and I thought he had a case of Julio Jones hammies is what it is. Thought it was going to last all season. Wayne had more faith than I did. He took Keenan Allen, and he outscored me by 20. It was kind of close. Keenan Allen though was just consistent. Jerry Jeudy had blow up games, and he had games where he just didn't really do anything. But Keenan Allen, the tried and true, consistent wide receiver every week, volume, man. So, week 8 as well. It was the same show. Beggs doesn't learn his lesson. I'm looking at these, I forget these, and then I go back, and I'm looking at it right now. Beggs is just a glutton for punishment sometimes, man. He's stubborn. He's just straight stubborn. The hatred just fuels him to make some of these.
You know, you got to respect it, man. He makes his bed, and he puts on his nightgown, and he lays in that thing. Tucks himself in and lays in it.
He does. It was week 8. I think it was actually the Bears playing the Jets. So who will have the better fantasy week? Justin Fields or Zach Wilson? Justin Fields, 26-19. Easy one. Quite possibly the easiest doink of the year.
Possibly.
I'm sorry I missed it. What was the doink?
Justin Fields, Zach Wilson when they were playing each other in week 8.
That was when Fields was nuclear, right?
It was like the start of his historic rise. 26 points.
Okay.
Yep. So, same show.
Zach Wilson won that game, by the way, didn't he?
It doesn't matter. It's a fantasy show.
Sure it does. Bet on winners.
It's a fantasy show, man. No one cares if Zach Wilson won the game.
It's debatable.
It's not.
Somebody cares out there.
Just a Jets fan who is sad they missed the playoffs again. Sorry, Jets fans. Zach Wilson didn't get it done for you.
Shafted me.
Better fantasy week. This is literally the same week, same show. Beggs versus Wayne. Beggs was feeling himself. CD was coming off a couple good games. He took CD Lamb versus Wayne's DeAndre Hopkins. D-Hop beat him 34-18. It was a beatdown, man.
Begley luck strikes again. Hopkins had his highest scoring game of the year.
Hopkins did what Hopkins does.
Highest scoring game of the year. Begley luck strikes again. That's twice now been beat by season highs. It is what it is.
Man, it is what it is, he says. Anyways, moving onward. Week 9 we went into. Better fantasy finish. This one is probably...
We should get you just a little bit of hydration. Get you a lot.
I don't know what it is. I have a tickle in my throat, man. I'm getting over being sickly. What do you want from me, man? I'm doing a lot. I'm carrying the load here on this show. All right?
Man, grab you a Hall's Breezer. Just suck on that thing, man.
I'm fresh out. I'm sorry. All right. Week 9, better fantasy finish. This might have been the nah, I won't even pat myself on the back. It's just a regular week. We'll have the better fantasy week. Josh Palmer versus DJ Moore, Wayne's beloved. Josh Palmer crushed it. 18.6. DJ Moore scored 4.4. Wayne,
DJ's let
what
me
do you
down.
have to say? Yeah. How do you feel about him going into next year?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Sam Darnold came back and he started doing good again. He had the Baker
That's true.
yips.
It's true.
All right. Anyways, week 9, Stephon Diggs. How many points will he score this week? It was 20 plus, which Wayne took, or Beggs under 20. Beggs won it. I don't remember who they were playing, but it was 14.3.
It was the Jets. He got sauced.
No,
he got sold.
No, you remember he had a touchdown that came back?
I don't remember that at all, actually. He just got sauced. Blanketed the entire
He
game.
had a touchdown come back. That's what it was.
I don't
Is
I don't remember
15
that at all.
fantasy points considered not a good week or something?
Sauced.
15's pretty good.
Get
as far as I know.
sauced.
As far as
How
I
was
know.
that?
Get sauced.
Okay. He got sauced. Week 9 again, better fantasy week. Raheem Mostert or Antonio Gibson?
This one really
This one-
grinds my gears.
This one was
man.
close. This one was actually not bad at all.
This grinds my gears.
Raheem Mostert eked it out. It was 8.6 to 6.8.
Yeah,
He
easy
got
money.
He got one garbage touchdown. Is the only reason he won this bet.
Easy money.
It boils my piss. Bothers me.
Oh man,
Begley luck.
Begley luck. Moving on, week 10 Q&A. Goni versus Beggs. This is in the running for easiest doink of the year. Beggs challenged my infinite wisdom of just football history, at least over my lifetime of watching football. And he questioned me when I said that Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, for those of you who might not know, played under Andy Reid when he was in Philly, when he was the head coach of Philly. He didn't believe it. We looked it up on air. It happened. He had some of his best years there, only with Andy Reid. It was a good time to be alive then.
That's how I know I'm getting
He
old,
played
man.
multiple years under Andy Reid in Philly.
Yes, he
Two.
did.
It was 2. Settle down.
I think it was like
2.
4.
I think it was like 4 as well. Pretty sure it was 4-ish.
I can't confirm that. Get sauced.
Okay. Fair enough, dude. We had a week 11 Q&A. I don't remember the context that this one went into, but Wayne and I got into it over Joe Mixon. I claimed he was having injuries. He was had a brutal schedule to finish the year as well. So I made the bold claim that he wouldn't finish as an RB1. Wayne said he would. My man's finished as an RB1, right on the cusp. He finished as the RB12.
Right on the cusp, but after we made that, he missed multiple games.
Man, though. That
Almost
just still goes
And
into
doesn't
it.
that make you feel disgusting, Begley, that he almost got another injury-related dub?
Get sauced going.
Oh, man. Brutal.
He's
I had to
either
choose my
milking
motion
its ear or
carefully
saucing your tail.
to sauce you.
Fair enough. There we go. That's a very light saucing. That
The old Heinz 57 on you.
Man. Anyways, moving on. Week 11. Goni versus Wayne. Better fantasy week. Isaiah Pacheco versus Deonta Foreman. Pacheco 10.7 to 2.4. This is when Pacheco was kind of coming along, establishing himself as the RB1 for the Chiefs going forward. Deonta Foreman, on the other hand, was actually crushing at this time, and this was kind of a down game for him. Just picked the right one at the right time. November 21st, Goni versus Beggs. Better fantasy finish. We got 6 more left here. I took Devonta Smith against Alan Lazard, and was probably one of the poopiest matchups you could have had all season. I ended up winning with 9 points to Alan Lazard's 4.4. It was just ugly. We had two more. They were just straight up DFS bets. We were all in our bag talking about DFS. We're super competitive, the three of us. We're just friends that are absolutely competitive in everything that we do. And so we made doinks with each other. We'd have a better week in DFS. Beggs won it all. Beggs won 2 doinks off of that between Wayne and I. He went on December 6th. Who would have a better fantasy finish from week 14 on? He took James Cook. He liked him a lot. I like Zonovan Knight after we saw a couple great games out of him. Unfortunately, Mike White got hurt and didn't play, and that's what I'm going to pin the blame on, 100%. But tip of the cap to you. James Cook had better weeks throughout the fantasy playoffs. This one's ugly on the ledger. 3 more. Goni versus Wayne. Better week 15 matchup. I challenged his almighty D-Hop with Terry McLaurin. And wouldn't you know, we have the only tie in the ledger. 13.0 points apiece for these guys. It's ugly. It's ugly. But the only tie. Probably the only tie there'll ever be. Week 15. Goni versus Beggs. Who would have a better fantasy week? Keenan Allen or Chris Olave? Chris Olave has been a fantastic rookie this year, but the day wasn't his. As Keenan Allen, 16.6 to 8.3. He's just too consistent, man. He catches too many footballs per game. Better things to come, though. Chris Olave is going to be a star. And then our last doink of the season, December 13th as well. Who will have the better fantasy week? I'm not really sure what Beggs was thinking on this one. He wanted the almighty superstar. He took Jamar Chase. He said, Jamar Chase is so good, I'll spot you 2 players. He gave him Rashad White and Chris Godwin, who combined for 27.6. You'd have to think, Beggs, if you only allowed him to take 1 player, he probably would have won.
Well, Wayne chose the right receiver. He chose Godwin. Godwin carried that bet for him. He just chose right, man.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He won the doink, is what it is.
If he chose Mike Evans, I win. If he chooses Julio, I win.
If your aunt had nuts, she'd be your uncle.
Oh, man, who would ever choose Julio? Hey, you want a free doink? Here you go. I'll take Julio Jones this week against anyone. Anyways, that's all we've got for it. It's our final tally. The end of the year. I'm going to do it this way. Goni finished in second with 18 wins, 16 losses, and 1 tie. The winner and recipient of the stake is Wayne with 22 wins, 13 losses, 1 draw. I wish you had like some confetti. You should have just pulled the string and just confetti and balloons rained down upon you in the living room, man. Begley finished at 14 wins, 26 losses. He will be buying a steak and wearing the crown of shame for the offseason.
I truly am the Doink King, as my DFS username says. Gentlemen, it's been a good year of just I've had to ice my crotch all year. I've absolutely just done nothing but swing these cannonballs right at your domes and made beautiful contact the whole time. Most wins, best win percentage. I'm going to enjoy my FaceTime here, Yeah, I lost some, but you know what my easiest doink was, Begley? You know what the actual easiest doink of the year was?
I do, Wayne.
Was the doink where I said that I would finish first in doinks. That was the doink of the year. The easiest doink of the year.
Don't look. There's no reason to tip your cap to that. Hardly any of his were earned. Luck just befell his way. It happens.
I can't wait for the steak to befell its way upon my gullet.
Onto his palate and taste buds.
And your bank account to slowly befell its way to 0.
Man.
Oh man, I hope they burn it. I hope it's got just a hard char all over it.
I don't like it. I send it back.
Send it back. Bring me 2 more, please.
You know what? I don't like this one. It's done too much. Bring me another one and double charge me.
Don't worry. We'll leave a tip on both.
On a road steak.
Oh, man. That'll be the best tasting of all time.
Yeah, Logan's Roadhouse. I'll see you there, buddy.
Ugh.
Man, Beggs is gonna come with some cube steak at the house and go ahead and fry it up in a pan for you.
I can do that, Wayne, if that's what you want, buddy.
You can't because you don't own a grill.
He
I
owns
can
a
go to your
pan.
house and grill it.
Not invited.
Oh man,
Dang.
what a miserable Doink season. It's one to forget. It's the first one though.
It's the inaugural.
Yeah.
Inaugural.
One to remember. I'll get some sort of trophy, write my name on it, put it up on the mantle, put it up right there, just so it'll always be in the background of my video, so you can just see it every single time we do a podcast. It's gonna go right there.
I've also got one more. Sorry, Beggs, it has to be mentioned, but
Does it, Goni?
I think it does. Do you think it doesn't? You know what I'm.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, it's got to be mentioned then because it happened. Congratulations to Mr. Charles Brown for winning the season-long Doink against our fellow podcaster Begley. It was. Do you remember what it was? It was Gabe Davis against someone. You picked someone. It was Hollywood Brown, wasn't it? Gabe Davis versus Hollywood Brown.
Was.
And Gabe Davis won. Charles, I'm going to need to get your address so Begley can send you something nice. He's got a smile on his face right now, as you can see. He can't wait. And the package will be in the mail soon.
Yeah, man. I don't know what kind of swag we're gonna get him yet. Get his T-shirt size too, if you don't mind.
Will do. I'll get the information. We definitely appreciate the support. Guys, we're back. We're back here. We're going to try and put out, 2 shows a week maybe? What are we looking at?
Maybe for a week or two. As we finish out the season, I think our next episode we kind of want to talk about the playoffs a little bit.
Yep.
We're always going to be taking questions. I mean, everybody's going to have their dynasty questions. So over the next probably month, we'll probably keep it at 2 a week. And then through the off season, just for a couple months, we'll probably drop down to 1. Just keep an eye on how the incoming rookies are going to be, any moves in football or anything like that that we find necessary, and questions galore is what we'll always hang our hat on, is just taking these questions. I would like to do an episode where we go back and look at our rankings and see what we hit on and what we missed. I think that would be kind of a good thing, just to give the mob, let them know how accurate we were on our hits, because there were some that we hit the nail on the head. I feel like there were a lot that we hit the nail on the head, like your Christian Kirk. I was wrong. You said he was going to be a WR1. America had him back in the 50-ish area. You hit the nail on the head. I was, Najee Harris. I told everybody he was going to be down. We all had our hits. Begley, Hollywood. He was exactly right. That Hollywood is definitely a WR2, regardless if he stays healthy. So I think that's definitely an episode we could probably break that down into position, is just going back and seeing, what we were right about, what we were wrong about in our rankings. So that'll probably come out. We'll probably dive into that, into the off season, just to make sure that we keep it coming with the steady content.
Yeah, listen, a lot of fantasy shows don't do that. They publish, they don't self-critique and review. We're a podcast for the people. I'll take my lumps. We'll just get better.
They need to know. A number one fan of the podcast, Charlie Brown, just hung on to Goni's word all year. And it's just not right, Charlie. It's just not right, Charlie. I can be right too, okay? So I think if we've learned anything, you can trust Begley's word when it comes to tight ends. And a quick view, you can trust Goni when it comes to receivers. You can, you know what I mean? So we're going to dive deep into that and see exactly, what each of our niches are. So you can choose, if we're in an argument, who do I want to trust here?
There we go.
That's fair.
There we go.
I tell you what, Wayne, I don't know about you. I wouldn't pay Goni $1 to set my DFS lineup.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's not my strong suit. Not my strong suit.
Hey.
Not a red cent.
It's all right though.
Mad Mob, being back in the saddle for MVP.